I guess I can't think of Frank without thinking of him as the perpetual teacher, not just the classroom teacher, but sort of a life teacher. And he was the mentor and the teacher and the advisor and the handholder for so many of us in the political arena for so long. I mean, I started out with Frank just sort of knowing he was this state representative from Portland that I admired and watched from afar. And suddenly one day I was an East Multnomah County housewife with a couple of little kids and not very sophisticated, certainly not about politics. And I needed a bill introduced into the legislature, and Frank was the only legislator I really knew. And so I came to him and said, you know, will you introduce our bill? We want our kids with disabilities to have a chance to have an education. Frank was there, he was ready, and he went through the whole process with me. How do you introduce the bill? What does it mean? How do you lobby? What are the rules? What's the difference between the Senate and the House? The whole process, every step of the way, he was there. And it really demonstrated, I think, more than anything else to me then and still, that this process in Frank's mind is a public process. It is an inclusive process and not an exclusive process. And he's always said to people, if you want to work in this process, I'll help you learn how to do it. I'll help you get your bill through. I'll introduce it. You do the work. I'll give you the coaching. And he was always there, the mentor, the coach, the teacher, helping us learn the process. And interestingly enough, from the time I first knew him, right through this session, through this last week of the session even, he's been there teaching people, helping people, leading people through the process, helping good legislation pass, because he believes it's a public process and he thinks the public should be involved in the public process. And I think that's the real message about Frank Roberts' view of being a legislator.
How did you feel when you first went in with that bill and all those people in committee?
I was so scared the first day I came in this building. I had to ask Frank where the women's room was. It was that bad. And it was an awesome process. I mean, suddenly there were these important legislators from all over the state in front of you in this big panel, and you were this little teeny person out in the audience. And Frank said to me, learn who they are. Let me tell you where they're from and what they do for a living and what they're about, so you'll know something about them. They're just people just like you. You don't need to be afraid of them. Go up there, tell them what you want. Tell them why it's important. Tell them what it feels like to be in your position or your child's position. And remember, they're just people. They're no more important than you are. And so he sort of hold your hand through the process, and you get through one little success or one little failure, and he'd be there cheering you on toward the next one. And he just never let you fall. He just kept sort of lifting you up and saying, we can do this, and together we did it. And really, I think about how many people have gone through this process successfully. People, lots of parents working on lots of kind of parents issues, people with disabilities, senior citizens, people dealing with issues like adoption and abortion and environmental issues. And Frank said, let's talk, whatever it was, pollution, or let's talk children, or let's talk disabilities, or let's talk nursing homes. And he was a person who said, I'll take your hand and help you through the process, and that's been his role.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think that's really what we need.
Okay.